Hey everybody. So I hope that everyone is doing as well as you possibly can be, considering the circumstances that we're all under right now. And I was going over in my head whether I should make a video kind of talking about this or not. And of course, you know what I'm talking about, with the whole pandemic that we're under right now. And I settled on, yeah, I think I should. I think I should. The whole reality is most of us have not lived through any kind of pandemic in our lifetime. So it's all new territory for all of us. But I thought that it would be a good idea to turn on the camera and just share some thoughts and to try to spread a little bit of positivity and encouragement and a little bit of reassurance, during these tough times. The first thing that I definitely do want to touch on is just the gravity of the situation and how serious, very, very serious it is. Because I know that there's a lot of people out there that really are not taking this seriously. And a lot of them are younger people. So according to YouTube Studio, basically my main demographic of people around my age, around 18 to 34. And that's also the age range that kind of puts us in the safe zone, if you will, in regards to this virus, in that most of the time it's not going to affect us in any kind of a serious way. And I think that a lot of young people hear that and then they feel like they're Superman. Like, well, I don't have to take as many precautions because according to the experts, even if I get it, I'm going to be perfectly fine because I don't have any underlying health issues or anything like that. So I'm going to live my life and not live in fear. And that's one of the worst things that you can do right now. It's the worst mindset that you can have right now, because it's really important to acknowledge the fact that, yes, even though younger people, especially younger people who don't have any kind of health problems, are far less susceptible to becoming very seriously ill from this, that doesn't mean that you are 100% safe from it. That doesn't mean that you yourself cannot wind up in the intensive care unit barely being able to breathe just because you're young. It just means that you have a better chance of not having to go through that. But at the same time, your strong immune systems can also make you fall into a false sense of security because you may think that you don't have anything and you can be spreading it to people. And even if you're just among your friends and you're all healthy and you're all, like young, vibrant bulls, it really doesn't matter because you have to consider the people that you can come in contact with along the way. You have to think about their families. You have to think about the younger people who do have compromised immune systems. You have to think about the older population. You have to think about your parents. You have to think about the people who, even if there's nothing wrong with them, they could also end up seriously sick because that's just the roll of the dice, There's some people who are perfectly healthy, and even when they just get a regular flu, they can have the flu for a longer period of time, and it can be more severe than someone else. And yeah, technically on paper, they're both young, they both don't have any health problems, just, this person just couldn't handle it as well as the other person did. And that's how it goes, that's our biology, that's our makeup. So you want to play on the safe side of things. Do not go out and congregate amongst each other, period. In fact, don't go out unless you absolutely positively have to do it. And when I mean don't go out, I don't mean like, hey, just lock yourself in your home and board up the windows. I mean, just don't go out around people. I understand that folks have to walk their dogs or maybe you want to get a little bit of fresh air, but keep your distance. Keep your distance. Go out into your backyard, see the sunrise and set if you must. But it's really important. That is the main thing that people like us who are not medical professionals, that's how we can contribute and try to mitigate and halt the spread of this thing, is by thinking about people other than ourselves and thinking about the greater picture and how fast everything can spread. And don't compare it to the flu. because it's not the flu. And even if it's very similar to the flu, I've seen people talk about, well, flu kills this many people a year, and you don't see us getting upset or losing our minds over that. First of all, maybe we should. And second of all, it shouldn't take the deaths of tens of thousands of people in order to get you to take this situation seriously. That's extremely morbid and, quite frankly, cruel. You need to handle this situation extremely serious, because you don't want this and the regular flu to be happening at the same time every year, doubling and tripling the amount of people who die, and to the point where it becomes so ingrained and normal that it's COVID season. Are you ready to take your shot? And then you ignore all of the aftermath and all the people who get sick and die because of that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to have that kind of mindset. You want to be able to contribute to stopping this thing while it's still new, so that we don't have to have two of these going on at the same time, now or ever. And I also know that there's a lot of anxiety. I got it. Wondering if you're next, wondering if the little things that you feel on a day-to-day basis, does that mean that you've come down with something? So I just kind of want you to know that you're not alone in that. And it's not just you, and it's not just me. It's a ton of people. You know, waking up in the morning, you do your morning stretch, you do your yawn, you take your first swallow of the day, and then you're like, what was that? So you do it again. Is that tickle in my throat? What is that? Is that the virus, or is that just my mind playing tricks on me? It's allergy season too. So that's another really messed up game. You know, if you go out and you sneeze, what's that sneeze coming from? If you cough for a minute, where's that cough coming from? You might think like, why do I feel too hot? Why do I feel like I'm cold? I need to check my temperature 10 times a day. And then every time you check it, it's like normal. You know, like 97.8. That was my temperature when I checked it a bunch of times, you know, over the week. And so, you know, that whole feeling, that whole mindset is normal. It's normal to be, you know, very concerned. It's even normal to be scared. But one of the things that I think is really important to realize is that your mental health is just as important as your physical health. And one thing that I've learned to try to help deal with those kind of psychosomatic symptoms, or things that seem like they're one thing, but they're something else entirely. If you're like super engaged on social media, like Twitter, and you're always looking at the news, it's never good. It's always bad. Try to practice your social media distancing as well. I found that it helps out a lot. When I do pop in on Twitter, I'll see what some headlines are, if they're relevant to like my area, and then I leave. Try not to stick around and read the comments from people with the check marks next to their name that give their commentary, that give their opinions, because those opinions can really mess up your mind. You know, and I think that's real important, if you do have a check mark next to your name, to realize that that check mark is more than just something that's visual, that makes people think that you are somehow an authority on something. You know, that you should be listened to, because apparently you're important enough for Twitter to feel that someone will try to pretend to be you. So they have to make sure that that really is you. So it doesn't help if you link to a story and then leave a comment that says, oh my God, we're all going to die. That doesn't help. And you see that all the time on Twitter. And it's hard not to continue to scroll and just keep absorbing more and more and more of that. And then that's affecting your state of mind. And like I said, that mental stress, that can take a toll on your physical self as well. And that's one thing that we don't want to do right now. We want to try to stay as positive minded as possible. We want to keep those immune systems nice and strong. And we don't want to suppress it by being upset and sad and everything is all super gloom and doom. So, you know, like I said, what I found is very important and very helpful. Try to just remove yourself a little bit from that. I know it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword to kind of feel like you want to stay informed, but at the same time, you kind of don't want to know anything at all. So you got to find that comfortable middle ground, as well as things that you just kind of like to do, around the house, no matter what it is, games, puzzles, writing, crafting, whatever it is that you want to do. Just try not to pay too much attention to what's going on in the news. You can keep yourself informed, but, take a step back. That's definitely one thing that we've had to learn, not just over the past few weeks, but over the past few years. You have to take a step back, because if you stay in there, it'll be really, really super saturated with just horrible news all the time, and it will make you feel horrible all the time. So you got to take care of yourself and watch yourself and remove yourself from the world as a whole when it comes to social media. But I think overall, we are all in this together, the entire world, everyone. And this is not something that you should put on one group of people. This is not a Chinese virus. We've seen that for some really ignorant people. It's not a Chinese virus. This is something that affects everybody, and it doesn't really matter where it came from. Everyone is affected by it, and y'all have to come together in order to make it go away, or in order to suppress it. So don't feed into that, quite frankly, racist rhetoric that now whenever you see someone Asian, you have to, No, it's not like that at all, because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. We all have to come together, and that kind of mindset, all it's going to do is push us further and further away. It's going to make people more and more ignorant. It's going to exacerbate the problem. It's going to make things a lot worse for everyone else, because we need each other's help right now, no matter where it comes from. So don't let that get stuck inside of your head. It doesn't matter. It knows no boundaries. It knows no race. It knows no culture. It doesn't know anything, except when it gets inside of you, it's going to try to mess you up. That's the only thing that you need to be focused on right now. Coming together, working together, and overall trying to stay positive. Because at the end of the day, we're going to get through it. All of us. When? Don't know. It can be as soon as a couple months, few months. I don't know. If you look at the news that's coming out of China and news that's coming out of South Korea, and how they've managed to greatly reduce the number of cases that's coming through there, they're showing like, hey, when we work together and we start, really trying to do our best to make sure that this goes away, it's possible. We can do that too. But it's going to take a lot of working together. And until leadership gets its act together, which is seriously lagging behind right now, the best thing that we can do is to take care of each other by maintaining this whole social distancing thing and taking the pressure off of the medical professionals, because the biggest problem is if they get overwhelmed with the number of people coming in sick for the same reasons, and then they run out of equipment, they start having to make difficult decisions, and then God forbid they start to get sick, because when their ranks start to fall, there's less people to take care of us. So that's what we have to do. We've got to take care of each other so that they can take care of us. Make sure that they don't get overwhelmed. And when it comes to going out into the stores and everything, be really patient and be respectful and be really acknowledgeable that the people who are in those stores in retail, ringing you out, stocking those shelves, bringing your groceries to your car, bringing your food to your door, those people are heroes right now. Don't get short with them. Don't get upset with them. Don't get mad because they don't know when the next shipment of ground beef is coming in. Those guys and those gals are going into work every day, interacting with a ton of people, putting themselves at risk, putting their families at risk, so that we can have another box of ice cream sandwiches to last us 2 weeks. I mean, come on. Those folks are legitimate heroes right now. And if you can tip them, like when they bring the food to your door, like Instacart or Shipt or something like that, leave those people a good tip, because they are out there, man. They're frontline right now, and they really do deserve as much appreciation and as much courtesy as anyone is possibly capable of giving them, because we need them right now. We're dependent on them, and we need to treat them all with respect. So yeah, I'm not sure how long this is going on. It kind of felt rambly at points, but so what? Who cares? I thought it was really important to get out. So yeah, we're going to try to continue things as normally as I possibly can here, as far as some reviews on figures and stuff like that. The mail system has slowed down a little bit, not too much though. So, you know, I am expecting to get some things in, but we'll kind of see where that goes. And yeah, we're going to take it one day at a time. And we're going to be there for each other. We're going to be there for ourselves, and we work together. And then we'll be looking back at this and going like, man, that was crazy, but we made it and we're all the better for it. So that's it. I'll talk to you guys later.